If the stars were made to worship, so will I.
Dr. DeMay's book, Musings of a Christian Physician on the Physical and Spiritual Healing of Man. And I will be reading to you from week 13, day 4. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin was not imputed when there is no law. Romans 5:13. Isn't that interesting? If we're to believe this astonishing verse written by the Apostle Paul, then we must confess that all humans from Adam and Eve, who by the way did have their sin imputed to them, obviously, to the giving of the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai, 2,600 years later, were not being held responsible for their many sins. Impute is an accounting term, meaning to charge to one's account. Now, there were natural consequences for their sin, but God wasn't going to use those sins against them. They had not been given any rules, so how could they be responsible for breaking the rules? Conversely, Adam and Eve had one rule, and they broke it. This plays into the whole plan of salvation that God put in place. Humankind was lost to him. There was the prophecy of their Savior to come, someone who would crush Satan's head, Genesis 3:15 NCV. But humankind had to be in a position to understand that they needed a Savior. Not only that, but also remember, this earth and the human experiment were like a show for the whole world to see, angels and people. 1 Corinthians 4:9 NCV. Because God was kind of on trial here to see if he was truly just and righteous, and whether his very nature was love, at this point it was becoming clear that humankind could not save themselves. They were ensnared by sin and usually did wrong rather than right, causing a guilty conscience. And they were getting sick and dying, and life was onerous and hard. Yet God couldn't easily communicate with his lost and separated children because they functioned pretty much exclusively on a carnal basis. And he is spirit. I think this verse conveys the heart of God trying to reach us before the Savior. The eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is loyal to him. 2 Chronicles 16:9. That's how he found Abraham from the land of Ur, now part of Iraq, which was a game changer because this man was going to do something unique among humans at that time. He was going to believe what God told him without being able to physically see the result of that belief. He was going to see the unseen and be the example for us as how to please the Lord. This was 600 years before the law. We're making progress explaining the awesome plan of salvation and why it took 4,000 years for Jesus to show up. Patience. More tomorrow.